giant alligators, the tyrants of rivers and swamps, have long been a nightmare for people living along waterways. They don't just attack cattle, goats, and livestock, but also humans, leaving behind horrific consequences for local communities. In some U.S. states, the number of alligator attacks on humans reaches into the hundreds each year, with more than 200 fatalities and millions of dollars in economic losses. Farmers are forced to abandon their fields, while livestock becomes easy prey for these massive beasts. That's why hunters are called in to protect crops, lives, and the safety of entire communities. Now, join us on this thrilling confrontation. We received an urgent report about a giant alligator spotted on a riverbank. Without hesitation, we rushed to the scene. As the truck rolled closer to the river, its massive figure came into view, a colossal alligator lying still. Now, crocodiles, famous for their size and ferocity, can launch lightning-fast attacks and take down even strong, healthy adults with ease. In that tense moment, from my hidden position, I carefully aimed for the critical spot, the strike that would bring it down instantly. According to locals, giant alligators often gather in this area. So, we pressed on in search of new targets. From a manageable distance, I locked my sights on another one, basking on a massive rock. This time, luck was on my side. With a steady aim, I dropped it instantly. The rifle in my hands once again proved to be the perfect weapon, powerful enough to finish the job. If left unchecked, how many more lives would these beasts claim? Ahead, another alligator lay calmly at the water's edge, looking proud, as if this was its personal kingdom. I shouldered my rifle, took a deep breath, and pulled the trigger. One shot, and the alligator collapsed immediately. Even after several takedowns, more kept appearing across the swamp. We had no choice but to stay sharp and methodical, eliminating as many as possible. Do you see that? Another target just came into sight. The sharp crack of gunfire echoed through the swamp. I always tried to take them down with a single bullet, efficient and effective. But the truth was, there were far too many. They moved underwater, vanishing and reappearing everywhere, forcing us to expend much more ammunition than planned. We continued roaming the area, which was absolutely infested with alligators. For poor local farmers, surviving here was extremely dangerous. Alex stumbled upon a group soaking in a muddy pool. Within minutes, gunfire erupted. Immediately after, we continued our ambush, targeting more alligators lurking around the river bend. Although we couldn't wipe out all the alligators in the region, we managed to bring down the largest ones, significantly reducing the threat to the people here. The battle against alligators is far from over, but at least for now, this land will be a little safer, and perhaps peaceful again. Even though modern machinery and technology have advanced, agriculture in my hometown still faces tremendous challenges. Not because the people here lack knowledge or experience, but because of a fear that has haunted us for generations. Wild boars. The desperation in their eyes drove my team and me to make a bold decision, to set out and join an unforgiving battle. This was more than just a hunt, it was a vow to protect the lives of the people here. Could we defeat the beast of the mountains and restore peace to the village? Join us on this perilous journey. Our means of hunting today were unusual. No trucks, no helicopters. We were moving by motorboat. Rifles, scopes, binoculars, everything was ready for an all-out fight on the water. Navigating the boat was already tricky, but spotting wild boars among the flooded grasslands was even tougher. We scouted the area looking for clear patches to set up an ambush. The numbers here weren't small. Boars gathered in herds, with lone stragglers scattered about. All right, time to strike in small bursts. We went after our first target, charging through mud and tall grass. I aimed carefully. One squeeze of the trigger, a fatal shot dropped the beast instantly. A perfect takedown to open a hunt that promised to be anything but easy. What challenges lay ahead? Stay tuned. At the same time, my teammate James was piloting his boat in pursuit of another boar. It tried to slip away, but James already had it in his sights. The moment came, before it could vanish into thick reeds, James fired. The crack of the rifle merged with the roar of the engine, sealing the fate of this ferocious animal. Meanwhile, my boat was locked on another target. The boar's sheer speed made the shot difficult, but years of hunting experience across rough terrains had taught me composure. Aim, squeeze, headshot. The boar staggered, tried to run, but collapsed almost immediately. Another trophy, and another step in reclaiming this land. .48s transition. chased herd flees into the forest, pursuit continues. We pushed further into neighboring areas. Suddenly, a herd of boars feeding carelessly came into view. No hesitation, we opened fire together. The first boar fell into the mud, followed by James dropping another. Panic spread, and the herd bolted into the forest. We surged after them, relentless, ready for the next chase. Right then, my dogs gave a signal. They had cornered a target near the riverbank. I rushed over, closing the distance, every ounce of focus locked into the scope. A single shot shattered the silence. The bullet struck its mark. The beast dropped instantly. At the same moment, my teammates discovered another group hiding nearby. We regrouped, determined to wipe them out completely. Through the scope, dark figures moved. I held my breath, waiting for the perfect moment. Then I fired. My teammates followed up swiftly, and one by one, the remaining boars fell. No mercy, no second chances. We had to stop them at the root. After hours of fighting, peace slowly returned to the land. The battle ended. We kept our promise, bringing temporary safety to the village. But deep within the forest, hundreds more still lurk, and the villagers' fear may never truly fade. We knew this was only the beginning of a long war. Wild boars, the silent but deadly destroyers of farmlands. When night falls, they sneak into gardens and fields, trampling crops, tearing through barns, and leaving farmers in despair. And when the destruction crosses the line of tolerance, a new mission is triggered. Hunt them down to protect the farms. This is no longer just a hunt, it's a battle between man and the wild. Will the beasts surrender this time? Or will they once again become the nightmare that haunts local farmers? Join us in today's relentless pursuit. At first light, we begin our slow advance into the deep forest, a known trail often used by the notorious boar herd. Our weapons are locked and loaded, GPS in hand. Hunting dogs alert. Every step is measured. Every sound is a potential threat in the heavy silence. Suddenly, a dark silhouette emerges from a thicket. It seems unaware of the danger lurking behind. I pivot instinctively, raise my rifle, steady my grip, and pull the trigger. A sharp crack pierces the forest. The shot lands. The boar stumbles a few steps and collapses under the damp canopy. Tension falls over the woods like a curtain. We move deeper into the jungle, where sunlight barely filters through the leaves. Out of nowhere, a massive beast explodes from the brush, its hulking body slicing through the trees like a bolt of fury. No hesitation. I aim fast through the canopy and fire. The shot lands. The beast crashes to the ground, sliding across fallen leaves before coming to a halt. Just when we thought the fight was over, barely 10 minutes later, two muscular boars burst from the brush, charging straight toward me. I stay calm, raise my rifle, steady my breathing. One shot, then another. Both bullets find their mark. The wild pigs collapse into the forest floor, powerless to resist. Suddenly, I receive a call from the team. Fresh boar activity has been spotted out in the open field ahead. No time to waste. I break away from the canopy, sprint toward the clearing. Everything's ready. The chase is back on. From a distance, a dark figure sprints right into my line of sight. A fully grown wild boar, massive and aggressive. Without a second thought, I lift the rifle, hold my stance, and fire. The sharp crack of the shot echoes across the empty field. The boar jerks and drops, lifeless on the damp earth. The gunshot sends a shockwave through the field. From the distant thickets, an entire herd bursts out, running in every direction, panicked and desperate to escape. I adjust quickly, locked onto a fast runner ahead. Fire. Another clean shot. The target falls. The rest scatter wildly across the plains. I immediately give chase in the direction the herd fled. Just 2 minutes later, a massive boar cuts across my flank, charging blindly for an escape. I spin, raise the rifle, and fire. The boar crashes into green grass, thrashing briefly before going still. At that very moment, on the opposite side of the field, my teammate is already in position. He spots a gigantic boar barreling through the tall grass. He locks in and fires. The bullet hits clean. The beast stumbles, then collapses on the spot. One precise shot, a clean finish. This hunting mission ends with moments of heart-pounding tension and thrilling confrontations. From tangled forest trails to wide-open fields, every shot fired was more than just skill, it was a responsibility, a duty to protect the land from destructive invaders. All operations in this hunt followed strict legal regulations for managing invasive species and ensuring safety for both people and the environment. Wild boars, creatures once thought to lurk only in deep forests, have now invaded the plains, causing unimaginable damage. They not only destroy crops, but also leave villagers living in fear as night falls. Faced with this crisis, what will farmers and hunters do to reclaim peace? Join us in a heart-pounding pursuit where the line between man and beast is drawn by a single gunshot. First, join us as we step into the chilly night of rural America, where giant wild boars exploit the cover of darkness to ravage fields and livestock pens. Guns, thermal binoculars, infrared lights. Everything has been meticulously prepared for a heart-pounding hunt under the moonlight. We drove for about an hour to reach the hunting area. The silence was eerie and unsettling. From a distance, a herd of beasts was quietly tearing through a cornfield. I quickly raised my rifle, locked onto the target, and pulled the trigger. The gunshot shattered the night's silence. One boar was hit and collapsed to the ground. The rest scattered in panic, fleeing in all directions. Not missing the opportunity, we decided to track down the surviving boars. A target was spotted. Swiftly raising my rifle, I pulled the trigger. The sharp crack of the bullet echoed through the silent night. One beast collapsed, motionless on the cold grass. The night hunt concluded with victory for the season hunters. After a tense night, the first light of dawn dispelled the darkness. Seizing the moment, we swiftly moved up the mountain for a daytime hunt, where the prey roams actively under the radiant sunlight. Join us as we continue this thrilling pursuit of the beasts. Silently weaving through dense bushes, a dark shadow suddenly darted out in front of me. Reacting in a split second, I raised my rifle and fired. The blast echoed through the mountains and forest. The beast struck squarely in its midsection. It collapsed onto the dry ground, thrashing briefly before gradually losing its ability to resist. The gunshot shattered the silence, sending the surrounding wild boars into chaos. The frantic barking of hunting dogs signaled the presence of other prey. As expected, a group of wild boars was hiding, hoping to evade my rifle. Without hesitation, I swiftly raised my gun and locked on the target. A clean shot rang out, and the lead boar was hit, collapsing in the middle of the forest without making a sound. As we descended the mountain, we encountered stray boars from the herd busily foraging. Aiming from a distance, I fired a single shot at the target. It collapsed and lay still instantly. The remaining boar fled in panic, leaving behind an eerily silent scene. The daytime hunt concluded with the giant beast herd as they defeated. Today's journey of night and day hunting has come to a close. From the silent darkness to the radiant daylight, each moment brought its own challenges. But with seamless coordination and precise shots, we emerged victorious. Everything was conducted in legal areas and in compliance with regulations.